Hey guys and girls and everything in between, this is your podcasting pal, Psycho Steve, on Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. Today, I am doing a little bit different kind of show. I actually have a co-host, and he's a very dear friend of mine, and he's also a musician, but we are actually interviewing rock royalty today. First of all, my co-host with the most is Kaan of the band Deadly Nights, and the very special guest, like I said, rock royalty, everybody. Hold on to your seats or stand up and shout, throw the horns out. Mr. KK Downing, former lead guitarist of Judas Priest. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi, Steve. Ron, a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you very much, you guys.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No problem at all.
So we're going to start off a couple questions. I have been reading the book, and I just need to know, why now? Why the book now? Why haven't you did it beforehand?
It's a good question. It's quite simply, the clock is ticking, I think. I think obviously when I kind of stepped down from the band, some 7 to 8 years ago, I was often asked about doing, would you do a book and stuff like that. I thought, no, it's still early days, lots could happen, but as time went on, and time is moving on for us guys that were around in the, as far back as the 60s, the late 60s, I thought that it would probably be now or possibly never, so I kind of got stuck in really, and I thought that I would tell the story for a few reasons. Wanted people to get to know me a little bit better, maybe find out what life was like for me as a kid. It was pretty rough and hard, and how I made the transition from that rubbish start in life to getting onto the world's biggest stages, and also obviously tell the fans some things they might want to know, some fun things, and how metal was made and what Priest got up to in our prime, and also finish with answer a lot of unanswered questions for the fans and everyone as to exactly why I chose to step down at that particular time when I did.
All right. Okay. So when you started Judas Priest, did you ever think the band would sell over 50 million albums?
Absolutely not. It was one of those things, I think it's, I think everybody goes out and buys a lottery ticket now and again, let's say, but you never think you're going to win, do you, really, honestly?
True.
You always think that, it's not me, so it was a bit like that, but you do it anyway, so I'm thinking, well, nothing may come of this, but I'm going to do it anyway, and lo and behold, when, things, went through the course, got to play with different musicians, before you know it, you start to become pretty halfway decent at what you do, and it's one step at a time, and it was a long, hard grind for Judas Priest. Nothing was ever easy. It did take a lot of time.
Right. Okay. So besides guitar and bass, do you play any other instrument?
No, I can't say I do really. I'm familiar, obviously, with the keyboard and, obviously knowing the guitar musically really quite well. But I actually started out life, I went kind of a bit mad because I wanted to play everything. I wanted to play jazz, I wanted to play flamenco, I wanted to play the piano, I wanted to play the violin, I wanted to play everything. But I thought, I actually had a piano in my house and everything, and I had some lessons and stuff. But I said, I need to stop all of this rubbish and concentrate on what might, potentially earn me a living, really, and pave my way through life. And it was my ultimate passion anyway, the electric guitar. Obviously, been a massive fan of people like Hendrix and, and early Clapton and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Speaking of guitars, and you started off with an acoustic or an electric?
Yeah, it was kind kind of, as most of us did, a bit of a hybrid, really. It was like an acoustic, but with like metal strings on it,
Cool.
So, which wasn't ideal because it was tough, a beginner's guitar, I wouldn't advocate anybody does it. Buy an electric guitar with steel strings, or buy, like a classical guitar with nylon strings. It's just going to be easy to try and hold down those bar chords, I think.
I understand that totally, and Kaan can definitely agree, playing guitar himself as well.
Yeah.
So do you still own your first guitar?
No. God knows what happened to that. It was £10. It was rubbish. And it took me forever to try and, holding down bar chords. It was hard. I didn't have strong fingers or hands. Beginners don't tend to have. Obviously you build strength as you go. So take my advice, everyone. If you get a rubbish guitar, just detune it down. A tone or even a couple of tones if you have to. Make those strings nice and bendy and pliable so you can get them on the fretboard.
Right on. Okay. So when you got your first royalty check, like your big first royalty check, what did you buy?
Let me think about that. I'm not too sure, really. I think I bought myself. I probably went a bit mad and bought a second-hand Rolls Royce.
Nice. That's a good choice.
Yeah, because I was still, guys. I didn't have a car or a driving license till I was 27 years old. I used to ride my bicycle or catch the bus, when I wasn't with the band. So it was rubbish, really.
Right.
But by the time I was 27, by the time 3 or 4 years later, I had enough money to buy a second-hand Rolls Royce, and I thought, yes, I'm having it. Well deserved. Yeah, all rockers go a bit mad when they first get the first paycheck, trust me.
Right on. Do you still own the car?
No.
Oh, okay. You're the second musician I have actually interviewed or actually know now that actually bought a second-hand Rolls Royce. First being Gene Simmons bought his first car. He was a little older, but he bought his second-hand car from Lionel Richie, a Rolls Royce, and now you. So you're in good company.
Very cool, very cool. I guess Gene lived in New York, so he probably didn't need to drive, right?
Exactly. So
you just grab it.
Yeah, he
grab a cab or grab the bus.
Yep, or the train. He said he would take all the time. So like the subway and everything like that.
I can remember when we played, what was the gig called? We played 3 nights there. It was like a theatre in New York.
The Beacon Theatre.
No.
Hammerstein Ballroom?
No, it wasn't that. It was an old theatre. It was an old theatre. We played 3 nights. In fact, the guys from Kiss came down, but I can remember one of the nights we had to get the bus there because we couldn't get a cab.
Wow.
So we went, Judas Priest went on the bus to the gig.
That's pretty awesome. Wow, you hear that here first. Judas Priest couldn't hail a cab. See, it's not just discriminating other people. Judas Priest was discriminated too. Wow. So, all right.
I feel so bad when I can't get a cab.
All right. So I have a fan question. Tony Harnell, original singer of TNT, wants to know, would you like to form a band with him?
Well, never say never, but I guess I'm still sitting here wondering what's gonna happen, in the new year.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that I've been asked quite a lot of times, obviously by some good guys, and I just think I'm a bit too long in the tooth to start over again, really, especially after having achieved, what I did with Judas Priest.
Okay.
So we never know what's going to happen, in the future. But you know, I'll see what the new year brings, but I'll definitely put that on the back burner.
Absolutely. Awesome. Kaan, why don't you ask him one of your questions?
Let me follow up with that. Are you enjoying yourself right now? You know, with not having to worry about the rigors of touring and all the writing new music. Are you just enjoying yourself now, or?
Yeah, because I'm always busy doing something, obviously, in the music industry. I also run my website, kkdowning.net, out of Finland. That's run by fans. That's like a big fanzine. It's not just all about me. So when I left the band, I decided to do that, and that's pretty cool. That keeps me pretty busy. Obviously, the book is really keeping me really, really busy at the moment. But I've been doing some recordings along the way, you know, dabbling here and dabbling there. People ask me to do solos and play on a track, so I do some of that. I just re-recorded Beyond the Realms with Les Binks because Les asked me to. I did that with Paul Cook who's a great guitar player, really plays with Meat Loaf, what the people might know. Paul,
he's also a New Jersey native.
Yeah, I believe he is,
Yeah, he also played with Anthrax.
Yeah.
I think, and he also played with Sebastian Bach. So he's
all over.
He's all over there too.
Very good. Yeah, very good player. So there's been opportunities out there, but I think we've got the winter closing in now in the UK, and I'm just going to disappear into my little studio and see what comes out in spring, I guess, and see what happens next.
Awesome.
Do you have any plans to do like a book signing tour of some sort? Actually, I've been doing stuff in the UK. In fact, last night I was in Nottingham in the UK. If anybody's seen the movie, Robin Hood, was that Kevin Costner or was it?
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, I was there last night, and it does have a big castle right in the middle of the city and all that stuff. It's a pretty cool place. So I was at the book signing there last night until late. Nothing yet set for the stage, so it's kind of still early days, you know. I'm very pleased to say that the book's going really, really, very, very well. So we'll see if it keeps going.
Right on. Speaking, all right, going back a little bit, you mentioned the Rolls Royce. What kind of car do you drive currently?
I drive a Range Rover.
Okay. Is that your daily driver?
That's kind of one of the 4x4 things, you know. It's very comfortable. It's pretty cool. It's getting a bit older now, but it's like cars. I don't know. I'm one of these guys where cars become a part of me, you know, and I kind of I look after them, so hopefully they look after me.
Right on. Do you still own any motorcycles?
No.
Huh. Okay. So, all right, here's another question. If you hear your music on the radio, do you turn it up or do you turn it off?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Probably I'll just leave the volume where it is, you know, just let it ride through, but just remind me of work a little bit, you know, and but the length of the song goes by fairly quickly, so you know. But I won't hang about in the room if it's there. I'll carry on doing what I'm doing.
All right on. Okay. Stephen Statland from Asbury Park, New Jersey. He's also a very brilliant hairstylist and owns a hair salon here in near the Jersey Shore. Wanted me to ask you a question. He wanted to know, what was the writing process with the band, since you're across the pond, as they say, and most of the guys over here, especially when like Ripper was in the band, what was like the writing process? Did you guys all get together and just say, all right, we're going to lock ourselves in the studio for a month and just write and then record, or how did you do it?
No, religiously, we always kept the formula more or less the same. When we went into writing mode, I would just I would put as many ideas down myself.
Right.
And would do the same, musical ideas predominantly, some vocal ideas, drum parts and stuff like that. And Rob would sit at home and think of some lyrical ideas and song titles and stuff, and you know, we'd call each other, and when we thought that we had a fair bit of stuff, you know, we would just get together, you know, and that could be, you know, every day for a week or every day even for a month or whatever it took to start piecing material together. And maybe we do some songs, piece them together, not finished, but, you know, and then maybe have another break, write some more parts if we needed to, or just keep going with the parts that we had. So it was kind of... ad hoc, suck it and see type of approach, really, you know. It always worked for us.
All right. So, and he had another question. He wanted to know why golf and not a Harley shop or a strip club you invested in.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I can safely say that there was always 2 out of the 3 going on. But it's just something that we fell into and started to enjoy when we were on tour out there on the road. And, you know, the story goes, obviously, we had our mates, a friend, Def Leppard, out there on tour with us in the States. And they said, you know, challenge us to a game of golf, you know, the following day. And that's exactly what we did. We went out there and we found that we enjoyed it. Those guys kicked our butts, mind you.
Right.
But, you know, we would do golf and tennis, you know, and just we found out that we enjoyed it, and we got to see more of the country and meet a lot more people, you know, outside the business doing that.
Have you ever played with Alice Cooper?
Yeah. I think the first time was in the late 70s sometime. We did a few shows with Alice when he was playing some big shows. And we were, you know, periodically we'd get the odd gig with Alice. And then later on we went out. I think the Operation Rock and Roll tour, there was us, Alice Cooper, Motorhead, and a couple of new bands. That was a tour that went out about 1990, I believe. So that was a lot of fun. Obviously, I never played golf with Alice, but I know that Glenn did on that tour, so that was an opportunity. But we always knew that he was a shit-hot golfer. Basically, he was playing off 4 or something like that, and even then, we heard he was a bit of a bandit. So, fair play to Alice. He's a proper golfer.
Yeah, he's quite the golfer. I was just about to ask you, what's your handicap?
Well, I often say short legs. Especially when I'm walking around there, you know, it's a long way around. I think I did become pretty good. I became pretty good. I think I got down to pretty close to, well, I did get down to some single figure numbers in the mid-80s. Myself and Glenn, we did an article for Sports Illustrated. They sent a crew down to Biloxi, Mississippi. We played there with the Golf Pro, and I can happily say I was 3 over for 11 holes, and then the clouds, you know, opened up, and it was a deluge, a monsoon, and we had to run for cover. And I got a really good round going, you know. So I was doing well. It could have all gone wrong, but I did well. But they actually posted my score was 4 over par after 9 holes, but they didn't say that I birdied the 10th, I believe it was. So that was my best ever, kind of, bit of a fluke, call it whatever you want. But then I must have gone to bed, had a few beers, and, you know, after a few months I lost that golf swing and never found it again. Fabulous.
Oh, okay. Do you have a favorite Judas Priest song that you've written?
No, I think think that obviously the vast majority of Victim changes was done when I was very young, and quite a lot of stuff, run of the mill. I was a teenage kid when I was writing all that stuff,
Right.
The Never Satisfied and stuff like that, and a lot of the early stuff that we did. So a lot of that is pretty close to my heart, because it actually stood the test of the time. Some of that stuff,
Absolutely.
If you don't mind me piggybacking on that, Steve.
Go for it.
Is there any particular countries that you found in your touring experience have the best crowds?
People do ask me that, but I find that, the music that we know and love, stirs up pretty much the same emotions with every fan that's listening to it, and how could it not, I suppose, really? Some countries, I say some countries, there's probably only Japan, and we went there the first time. We found that the crowds were really wanting to let rip, but they were kind of so disciplined and taught not to do this because we might think that it's rude or something, So, you could see them almost bursting in their skins, wanting to yell out, and do that. It was so reserved and polite, but later on they tended to react more, but, we could kind of tell that they were the same emotions were being stirred up within them. So I would say, a metal fan is a metal fan wherever he may be on the planet, he or she may be.
Okay.
When you were in the States, did you have any specific cities that you preferred to play? Any memorable performances?
In the States, yeah. Obviously, we played many great shows, obviously, in many great cities, from San Antonio, obviously, to New York, in the New York area. One time we played on one tour, I think we played the Gardens, the Meadowlands, and Nassau Coliseum at our height. That was fantastic to do. Obviously the Live Aid in Philly, the US Festival in San Bernardino. We did a lot of shows, but it was all good, all good to be fair. And it was always good for, back in the days, we always kind of liked to take the music to the people, so that to their hometown. So we would do a tour of all the major cities, they call it, and then we would do the secondary towns called the secondary markets, and go into theatres and stuff. And that was great to do because a lot of people didn't have the money or the ability to be able to travel, get planes and trains and hotels and stuff like that. So it was always good for us to take the music to the people, but I think a lot of that seems to have changed, in recent years. Yeah. I think we did one tour. I think we did 134 or 138 shows in North America alone. Wow, that's kind of a 6-month period. We had a break in between. That's how we went round the States once and did all the major cities, and then we went into the so-called secondary markets, and we would play Little Rock, Arkansas, or Biloxi, Mississippi, and the smaller towns,
Wow.
Boise, Idaho, and smaller towns.
Yeah. Speaking of changes, are there any prolific changes that you've seen in the music industry since you started with back in the 60s?
Prolific changes since I first started.
Good question, by the way.
Yeah, I think so. I think each decade, I think if we take it by decades, obviously we had the 60s. We had the kick-starting of it all. The pop music as well started, the Beatles. We already had Elvis, but, lots of pop bands were coming to the forefront. But it also started, in the UK. The blues music had a great presence. Lots of progressive blues bands came along, including The Cream, obviously John Mayall, Free, Taste, the original Skid Row. Tons of bands. And by the time we got into the 70s, we were starting to get Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, obviously Priest were there. We were doing our own thing in the background, and lots of good things started to happen in the 70s. Obviously, we've got the Scorpions, UFO, we've got some good bands, but by the time we started to get to the end of the 70s and the 80s, it really did start to pick up, and it was a time when the UK started to amalgamate more with the US, and there started to be more of a comparable between, the bands and what the bands are doing. Obviously, we had the Van Halens, the Dockens. Obviously, we had Iron Maiden coming on board, Saxon, and it was more of, by the time the 80s came, in the mid-80s, it was just a frenzy of it was great. It was great for the fans because there's so many great bands, every week a new star band, and star guitar players coming to fruition. The list was endless and endless and endless. And then, of course, when we started to get to the end of the 80s, into the early 90s, it started to change. Music started to change. More bands like Slayer, Megadeth, Pantera, were coming to the forefront, and our metal was seemingly getting heavier. And then the evolution went on to death metal, speed metal, thrash metal, and God knows how many metals. And and that seemed to put the brakes on basically traditional rock and metal that we knew and loved.
Yeah. Speaking of all the genres of music, do you consider Judas Priest metal or hard rock?
Metal.
Excellent answer. That's what I thought.
There we go. Definite clarification.
Definitely, because it was always the aspiration to create something that was pretty unique. Musically, little did I know that something even more image and and creating the look that spread to the fans as well. So it was just leather studs, denim and leather. It just became obviously synonymous with all of us that love, the music that that we carried with us through our life.
Awesome. So out of all your guitars, how many do you own?
Not too many, and I can tell you why.
Okay.
Steve, because a lot of guitars, this is the same for a lot of bands. I mean, I've probably got, 35, about maybe a few more,
okay,
which isn't a vast number for such a vast career, because lots of guitars go to charities, for example.
Right.
Over the years, lots of guitars went to charities. Quite a few guitars I actually personally gave away to various people, sometimes because they asked me for one, sometimes because I felt I should give them one. Like at the end of a tour, for example, as a gift, I would give one of my guitar tech a guitar, for looking after the guitars so well for such a long time, and and making sure they didn't get broken or stolen and stuff. So I would do that, and a lot of times, a lot of stuff went into when things like hard rock cafes first. Managers would say, "Have you got a guitar?" The guys want one in Universal City or Tokyo or somewhere, So we did that for a while, and then we thought, it's not such a good idea, I need to stop doing that, And so eventually, but you can only, it is a case of most of the guitars I've got the treasures that I brought with me from the early days. But obviously you get to a certain point and you don't have to pay for guitars. You can kind of just order them up, and I've got to say to everybody, I know for a fact you're going to be jealous and envious of that, but it just became the way that it was, and those guitars that we do get made didn't really have a meaningful, it weren't that precious to us. They became tools of the trade.
Right. Do you have names for them?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, absolutely not. No, it will just be like a 65 Strat or a 1970 V, Medallion V, just so I can recognise what's in the case, basically.
Gotcha. What is your oldest guitar do you own?
The oldest is a 60 now. I have owned older guitars,
right?
But my oldest guitar now will be a 65 Strat, I think.
Wow. And do you still play it?
Yeah. I haven't played it for quite a while. But that was a Strat I played quite a lot on tour,
Right.
And there's videos, quite a lot of it. It's like a Sunburst Strat, because I didn't have many guitars.
Right.
When I had that guitar. And I think I was on tour with Kiss in '78.
Right, for the Dynasty tour.
Someone bought that guitar to a show.
Huh.
And I think I was actually playing pool in the hotel with Ace. And I don't know if Peter was there, Peter Chris was there, or a couple of guys from the band anyway. And the guy bought that guitar, I'm sure it was on that night, and he said, I want you to have this guitar. And I says, I'm not having it, I'm just not having it. He says, I really want you to have it, I want you to play this guitar. And I thought, well, it looks great, but now I'm kind of a bit more of a V player, but obviously I had always played Strats anyway, so I said, look, I'll take it, but I'm going to give you some money for it. And I think I probably gave them about $500 for it back then. I'm not sure, but I wanted to pay for it if I was going to have it, and that's what I did. And I hadn't got a clue, I thought the guitar was probably a few years old, to be fair.
Awesome.
So that was in the late 70s. And I didn't find out it was a 65 until actually Weasel, Greg, whose nickname is Weasel, who's Glenn's guitar tech.
Right.
Very knowledgeable guy. He was at my house one day, and I don't know what he was doing, but he actually took it apart, and he noticed that it was all stamped up 1965.
Wow.
And I had no idea. So I was quite thrilled about that. That was kind of good.
Absolutely.
So I guess in my mind, I thought it was about a 1975 or something like that, But I never really gave it too much thought. But I did used to throw that guitar around, for quite some years,
Right.
You'll see me with it on film on YouTube.
Right. All right. Speaking of guitars, do you play every day still?
Maybe not every day. Depends if I have to go out on business, do things like I did yesterday. I was out all day yesterday, but I've got a V in my office with a little Marshall amp. I'm looking at them now, and the V is the Hamer V that I played. This guitar is probably, I don't know. There's videos with me on YouTube playing songs like I think I played this. I had this guitar for the Angel of Retribution tour.
Awesome.
So that's the guitar. Pictures of me on YouTube playing those songs, Judas Rising and stuff like that.
Nice. Well, everybody mentions the movie Rockstar featuring Mark Wahlberg and Jennifer Aniston being loosely based on the departure of Rob and bringing on Ripper. What is your take on it?
Yeah, well, in the early days, they really wanted us to be involved with that. I mean, because it was a great story, Ripper's story, obviously, and Ripper's an incredible vocalist and a fantastic guy. I'm sure you've probably hopefully you've had a chance to meet him and you'll know what I'm saying. He's absolutely true blue, and so, yeah, they get to make a movie about him. They wanted us involved, but we were never sure because, obviously, I think that it's difficult to act to be, rock musicians. I think it's difficult to do that.
Right.
But I'm not sure if I saw all of the movie. I saw some of it, but maybe I'll have to go back and check it out again because it has been quite a while, to see how those guys did. But we were always a bit concerned that, it might turn out a bit cheesy or a bit, that's an American word. Of course, it is cheesy, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Kind of, our drummer Scott used to use that word all the time.
Nice.
Sometimes we play a riff to a couple of riffs, say, man, that's a bit cheesy. No, it's not, Scott, but, so yeah, we were a bit wary of that. So we stepped back from it, really, and let them get on with it.
Awesome. All right. A couple more questions because I know you probably have a couple more interviews to do. So, if you had a musician to get to play with that's either dead or alive, who would it be with and why?
Well, I would definitely have to say Hendrix without a doubt. Who wouldn't want to be on stage with him?
Right.
I mean, just for fun. It's like, can I just say this now? I actually was on a tennis court once back in the day with two professional tennis players. One was Vitas Gerulaitis, the Argentinian guy who lived in New York, Vitas Gerulaitis.
Right.
You're probably too young to remember him, but he was a top 10 tennis player. But his best friend was John McEnroe. And both guitar players. But anyway, so they invited us out to Flushing Meadows to play, have a knock up with them at John's practice session. So there we were. I mean, it's like, I was on a tennis court, with John McEnroe and Vitas Gerulaitis, but I was playing tennis, but I wasn't really playing tennis, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
It would be a bit like that with the great Hendrix, but I would love to have, but in all seriousness, obviously now, I feel I would be able to step up a bit better to the mark than I do with John McEnroe playing tennis. Facing the McEnroe serve at 9 o'clock in the morning is no fun after you've had a concert the night before at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
So no, that would be great just to hang out and just jam a bit. That would be great.
I know you mentioned in your book. You mentioned in your book that you got the chance to see Hendrix a couple times in concert, which is incredible in itself.
It was great. It was great to be able later on to play even the venues that Hendrix would play and stand there stage right, places like Coventry Theatre and the Royal Albert Hall and different venues. I'm sure Jimmy played the Gardens or whatever, It was always fun standing on those stages wondering, there's so many famous feet have been stood here, stage right at this gig, and and what an honour that was for me, Go ahead, Kaan, did you have a last question?
Oh, yes. Is there, what's on your playlist lately? Any newer bands you've been listening to?
No, I'd like to please send me some newer bands I can check out, and if there's anything that's on fire. Do you have anything? I've got a pen and paper, I can write them down. There's your band, Kaan, what are they called?
You could check out my band, it's Deadly Nights, with an N.
Selfish promotion. There we go.
We actually just played a show, not just several months now. We played with Exodus.
Oh, cool, yeah.
We covered Between the Hammer and the Anvil.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check that out. For my own part, no, I'm looking for some new stuff to do. In fact, I've got to get a very good friend who's a journalist in the UK. He has sent me some new bands to check out, so I need to take some time out and check those out and get back to him, really. But he also said check out the new Doro album, check out the new Saxon album, which I have done. But at the moment, I'm actually listening to Dokken, who have just got back together, played some live in Japan. That's super cool. If anybody wants to check those out, I've got to say that's nice to go back for somebody like me. Listening to some good guitar playing, good singing, good songs. So that's very cool. So you see, lots of bands break up, they get back together. Lots of musicians leave, they get back together. It's all par for the course. It's all a good game, as we say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, a very important question. If you get asked back, would you go back to Judas Priest?
Well, I would have to. It depends on, the circumstances of me being asked back. As I said before, if the guys had said, look, KK, Kaan's not well, sadly.
Right.
He's not able to do the tour. We really want you to step back in because, we want to add some fortification and go out there with the Priest and give the fans as much as Priest as we can possibly give them. So we'd like you to step back in and there'll be a level playing field, total democracy. Everybody's got an equal say. We'll go out there, have some fun. Then I would have had to it would have been difficult to say no, really. It would have been hard to say no because, I would have had, confidence and, I'd be stepping up there with a new guitar partner, but there's no doubt if Richie would just move over, I'd take my place back and he does takes Glenn's part. I think we would have been a pretty good duo, to be fair, but the situation's got a little bit undesirable, things said, even Richie's made comments, I'm thinking, I don't think that's appropriate, but like I say, bands are always falling out, and then like you say, the next thing you know, they're kissing and hugging. Oh, it's great to have you back in band, man. Some of that must have been in Spinal Tap, surely, or not, or did I miss that part? I don't know. But anyway, it happened.
Okay. So, where in the United States makes the best fish and chips?
The best fish and chips. God, that's a tough one. I don't know if I've ever had. Well, I've had fish and chips in your restaurants, and you do a damn good job of it. To be fair.
Right.
But you don't walk down the streets and see fish and chip shops everywhere like you do in the UK, do you? Really?
Right. Unfortunately, no.
But in the restaurants, it's good, Obviously, America has incredible food, honestly. I mean, it really does, and we like America because America's, can I just say this sweeping statement? The English, we complain a lot, but we complain to ourselves and not to the people that we need to complain. A lot of that goes on, but in America, people go, people are pretty upfront if something's not right, especially in restaurants. So that raises the bar and the standards. That's what we find. It's difficult to get, bad food and bad service in a restaurant, for the mainstay compared to other countries,
Absolutely. All right, so now it's time to.
Making me hungry now. Talking about American restaurants. You guys are spoiled for choice. You have so many great variety of great food in so many different restaurants. I'm thinking about it now.
Right on. So when you come to the States, Kaan and I will take your fish and chips or some bangers and mash. So
absolutely. Yeah, sounds good, mate. Is that going to be an Irish pub?
Absolutely. All right. Now it's time for you to plug away. How could people find you besides this amazing book that you just came out with? So let's give the website. Yeah. Website, everything. Social media, everything.
Yeah. Amazon, whatever. Obviously, my website, kkdowning.net, and
Barnes and Noble.
Yes. So those guys are stuck in the book, which is great. Obviously, as I said, Amazon, whatever, and people can pick up a signed version as well. And that's very feasible and possible to do. But if you go onto the net, if you possibly can, and just put in there KK Downing book, so there is a personally signed version from me, from Premier Collectibles. So if you want to, you can Google that, Premier Collectibles. That's pretty good. So
awesome.
So yeah.
All right. Well, KK, I can't thank you enough. I know because it's a little late over there. I just want to tell everybody, check out KK's book. It's called Heavy Duty Days, Nights, and Judas Priest. It's out now. And if you guys and girls and everything in between want a really, really great read, I have not put it down. Just want to say thank you for all the music that you have done all these years, and we can't wait to see what's next for you besides this amazing book. Hopefully maybe a bottle of wine or something. And also, you got to look us up when you come back over here to visit. We would love to get together. Will you guys? I'll get the good lady Lisa from our office to hook me up with you guys when I come to town, and hopefully there'll be a show of some sort you can come to. But a big thanks to you two metal merchants, Steve and Kaan. You've been very gracious, and thank you for the questions, and just a big thank you to all of the listeners, the fans, and thank you so much for being on the journey with me and with us, Judas Priest. And like I say, total respect to my bandmates, all of them, and what they do, and present. I hope there'll always be a Judas Priest in one form or another, and hope to see you guys at some point in the future. Absolutely. Take care and keep up the metal faith. Thank you again, KK. I very much appreciate it. Okay. Yes. Okay, you guys. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. All right. Cheers, mate. Bye, guys. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye.